As we head into October 2023, the UK house price crash is well underway, or at least you would think it would be, and then you see headlines like this. House prices unchanged in September, says Nationwide, after interest rate pause and summer slowdown. So what is going on? Has the slide stalled, or is this just another interpretation or misinterpretation of the actual data? So let's head over to Nationwide and see what they've got to say officially. Now, before I get into this, it's important to remember there are many house price indices in the UK. The major ones, there's really 5 major ones. You've got the official ones, which is ONS/Land Registry. They're technically separate, but also the same thing. But they lag by like 7 months, so they're basically pointless if you're trying to figure out where house prices are going. You've then got the big lenders, so you've got Halifax and Nationwide, and their data is usually 1 to 2 months old, and it's based on mortgaged lending, so it doesn't include cash buyers. And then you've got the property portals like Rightmove, which is based on new listing asking prices, and Zoopla, which is just a mix mash of everything, and it's difficult to take seriously if you ask me. When you see people like Nationwide and Halifax showing declines of around about 5%, and then Zoopla are barely showing any falls, they're hard to take seriously. I basically just ignore Zoopla and focus on the rest. So this is where we are. And what's important to keep in mind is 4 out of those 5 indices, so excluding the ONS and Land Registry, all of them will perform better. Their businesses will perform better if the UK property market is healthier. So they may not intend to, and they may not actually do, but there is naturally going to be some biases throughout those businesses to try and put as positive spin as possible on the data that they report. Now, I'm not saying this data has been tweaked or manipulated, but I'm just saying to keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that the media outlets that report on it, such as Sky and various other media outlets, many of them will also have a bias as well, just as many of the YouTube channels will. So such as my channel will naturally have a negative bias, as I would like to see a house price correction. So always keep all of those things in mind whenever you see any of these headlines. Try and dive into the data yourself and make your own decisions. But let's come back to the Nationwide House Price Index, which was released today, and see what the actual data says. So house prices unchanged over the month, okay, but remain down 5.3% year on year, which is around £14,500. Okay, let's come down to the table of data. So compared to August 2023, we have gone from negative 0.8% decline in August to basically sideways at 0% in September 23. But then you come down a bit further and you've got the average price, which is not seasonally adjusted, and we have fallen from £259,000 to £257,800, which is about a £1,300 decline. So because of the seasonal adjustment, the headlines that are being reported are showing no change. So the media outlets that are either neutral or have a positive bias are going to show that house prices are unchanged, but the media outlets that may be more negatively inclined or want the more sensationalist headlines, just like YouTube channels do that are looking for some clicks, they're going to say, look, actually, house prices are still down £1,300 this month. So it's so important to remember that these figures can be reported either way. These seasonal adjustments can also impact how the figures are reported as well. So what I decided to do today was take all of this data and I've put it into Excel. And this goes back all the way to 1991 when Nationwide started releasing this data. And I've got columns including all of Nationwide's official data. So I think the first 3 or 4 columns here, average house price, monthly change, seasonally adjusted, and the yearly change. Those are all Nationwide's official data. And then I've added a couple more columns here, which is the monthly change, non-seasonally adjusted. So you can see what is actually happening to the data before Nationwide apply their seasonal adjustments. Now, I'm not saying Nationwide are wrong to apply seasonal adjustments. It can help smooth out the data, but it can also mask what is actually happening. So if we look at the actual data in September, house prices at £257,000, Nationwide have reported that house prices have gone sideways, so they've been no change. But the non-seasonally adjusted shows that we're down 0.5%, which is in keeping with what we've seen the past couple of months on the non-seasonally adjusted data. So When you see the media outlets saying that house prices have stalled and house prices are no longer falling because interest rates have been held, it's not really the case, is it? It just means because of the seasonal adjustment they make, because September's data is traditionally weaker data, so they apply a positive seasonal adjustment, that 0.5% decline is reported as 0% instead. So it's a positive spin on that data. So always keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind with that data is that we are now 13 months past the peak for nationwide. So nationwide house prices peaked in August 2022. And for the past year or so, we've been using that as kind of our reference point to see how much house prices have been falling. But now we're past that 12-month window, we have to keep in mind that house prices are going to have a cumulative effect from this point onwards. So house prices might be down 5.3% year on year, but actually now we're down 5.8% from the peak, which is just under £16,000, and no one is reporting that today. So keep this all in mind, dive into the data yourself, and keep in mind that for the rest of this year, we may see in some of these seasonally adjusted house price indices that house prices look positive month on month. So if we go back to, let's go back to 2019 before all of the fun kicked off and look what happened then. From September to December, so if we imagine the next 4 months of the rest of this year, from September to December in 2019, house prices basically remained unchanged, yeah? But then you've got 3 months, they showed actually positive monthly changes in the house price when that isn't actually what happened. So keep in mind that the seasonal adjustments over the next few months, even if house prices aren't going up, we may still show monthly increases in the reporting purely because of those seasonal adjustments. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to get across with this video. You've got to dive into the raw data yourself. Don't just trust the headline figures. Don't just trust the headlines that are reporting on those figures either. I'm confident that house prices are going to continue falling for the rest of 2023 and throughout 2024. And if you want to see my reasons why, I'm going to pop up a video now and I'll see you guys over there.